Well, hello there everyone, and welcome back to another Design Me Devon. Today, I wanted to take on a little bit of a different build. So what I've done is taken on an old factory. Now, there were points to this old factory that I had to build it in, and I just loved the premise of it, the storyline, the vibe. I was very much for it indeed. We're going to be renovating an old factory into some kind of apocalyptic sort of haven for people, where people are protected from the outside world, where zombies are roaming the land. And I just thought this was great. This was really good. It was a little bit different to the others because I really didn't need to do too much. And what I mean by that is like add on different things, change aesthetics, that kind of vibe. It was not in that way whatsoever. It kind of got my head thinking a little bit differently with this build. And that is what I absolutely loved about it. I really did. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go over, I'm going to show you the build in question. I'm going to talk you through the storyline, and then we're going to go into the renovation video, and I'm going to show you what I did. And here she is in all of her glory. This is the old factory, and this was done by the creator Front 9, I think this is. You can see that up there as well. FRNT 9. I absolutely loved this. I really did. And I loved even more the storyline that came. Well, not even more. Not even more at all. I loved all of it. But the storyline was so great. So here we go. The world as we know it is over. The new virus came over faster than we could react. People turned into flesh-eating zombies. Our families, our friends, our neighbors. You were lucky to find some other trustworthy survivors. And together, you are doing everything to survive. You were lucky enough to find an old factory that could become a new safe haven for your group. It isn't easy to renovate in the apocalypse, but you have some talented people in your group who can use stone and wood to craft simple walls and buildings. Of course, in this new world, you have to be self-sufficient. You will need to generate your own power, get your own water, and of course, produce your own food. Make sure your new home has everything it needs. A little hospital room is important, as is a room to teach children of this new world and everything they need. As there is no money in the apocalypse, there is no budget. So get ready to make this old factory your new home. 5. Keep the zombies out. Make the factory secure. This build was incredible. The detail in this build, I cannot wait to show you around. I'm going to talk you through a bit about where my head was and what I wanted to achieve with this. And then we're going to go into the speed build format. And what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to do before and after shots this time. I'm just going to do a big tour of the whole place once I've renovated it. Because nothing drastically changed, really. I just added lots of stuff in. And I went about thinking about it very realistically, or sort of realistically. So I wasn't using new furniture here and there. I was making stuff look a little bit older and a little bit shabbier. And I just think it really worked. So that's what we're going to do. Let's head on over and I'll show you around this wonderful build. And here she is. The old factory by Front 9. I absolutely love this. What a great builder you are, first off. You did so well with this. You really did. So a big pat on the back for you, my love. This is it's just so realistic. I absolutely love it. One of the things that absolutely astounded me was these lovely sloping bit of terrain work up into these kind of garage areas here, which lie in this area. I loved that. I thought it was great. I also loved the use of these roof pieces on top of the factory roofs themselves. I'm going to make sure. I did not even know about this object. This is from Werewolves, by the way. So I'm definitely going to be making use of that as well. Another thing that astounded me was your terrain painting. Your terrain painting is perfection. It really is. I loved all of this. All of the details that you put into this lot was absolutely incredible. It really was. So we'll start off on the highest point up here, which looks to me like some kind of like, I don't know, sort of meeting room area where the factory workers could hang out at lunch or something along those sort of lines. That's what I thought that area there was. I thought that was great, and I loved this caged in moment here. And that got me thinking with this area, this would be the perfect area to grow their own produce. So we do lots of crops out on this area here. And then we also use this room here for crops as well, so we can grow them all year round. Because there's so much glass in here, I thought that would be the best way to go. And it really, really worked. It really did. And then down onto this level here, we've got some offices and some toilet areas. All very messy, but also some lovely stuff used in here as well. Which in my head, I was like, maybe they could reuse a lot of this. And I do tend to reuse quite a bit of these objects. But I also thought about if they didn't want to use whatever they've got, they could make or use the materials from it to make something else. So I was making sure to kind of keep that in the back of my head as well. And I ended up going for a little bit more of bedroom areas up here. There are several different bedroom areas, but I thought having a bedroom area up on this level near the crops and also watchtowers, I add in several watchtowers everywhere just so they've got sort of vantage points from each edge of this lot in case any zombies try and come and snack on their tits, you know, and I didn't want that for them. I really didn't. So this stayed as the front entrance area. I do modify in here slightly. I knocked down some walls and put up some fencing and stuff just to make it look a little bit more secure. But this area here is probably your kind of staff toilets area. I kept all the toilets the same here and I converted these areas into shower rooms. There's some very talented plumbers here. There really is. Kept the majority of this big kind of warehouse area the same as well. The canteen area up here, I actually reused that. We knocked down this wall just to open it up to the space a little bit more. And in turn, it allowed me to bring these two picnic benches inside to this area because I ended up using this fenced in area as a bit more of a fitness and gym area where they can come and get strong and sort of practice fighting and stuff. I use the sparring machine and stuff with that. And then down onto this area here. This is a bit more of the maker area. So I get rid of a lot of the machinery that's in here. And we end up putting in different things like fizzing stations. I put in some candle making stations as well. Some, what are they called from Eco Lifestyle? The recyclers. There we go. The recycling machines, I put them over on this side here. And I also split this area into a bit of a woodworking area. But I also get rid of all this machinery back here. And this is where I put the kind of children's classroom area, put some curtains and stuff up just to give it a bit of a feeling of separation and make it look a little bit more friendly. I just thought this area was really nice and secure for the children to kind of sit around and learn. So that's what I did. That is what I did. Around here, I actually convert this warehouse area into bedrooms and then the kind of new meeting area here where I put up one of the projectors but on the sheet to make it look like it's kind of been homemade and stuff, an area for them to just sit around and chill out with connecting bedrooms on either side. So I do bunk beds everywhere as well, bunk beds everywhere, but I did end up putting in a little bit more of a double bed up into one of these rooms up here just in case there wasn't any couples or anything that were survivors, you know. And then this whole big courtyard area, I kind of split it up into several different things. I put in a chicken coop as well. I'm putting some new fencing around it so they can get eggs and stuff. I also do a bonfire and also a fire pit. I do several things down here, some bug hives or whatever they're called. I can't remember what they're called. I also do some beehives as well up in this area or up here just so they can get their own honey. There is a basement level as well, and the access to that basement level is down through these stairs here. And then it kind of comes into this underground. I think this is some kind of laboratory, like for robotics and stuff like that. What I decided to do with this place was add on a bit more of a hospital wing. So I do a hospital wing over on this side. And I kept the majority of this the same. And I reckon this is where they kind of maybe do tests to see if they can fix the virus or like, I don't know, procure a cure for the virus. I thought that was the best way to go with this, and it worked. It really did work really nicely. Yeah, once again, absolutely astounding build. You should be so proud of yourself with this. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to do something with this build. It really, really was. But that's it. What we're going to do now is go on over to the speed build format, and you're going to see how I brought this place into a haven for this apocalyptic world. Let's get on over and let's start it. And so here we go with the all-important cleanup process. I tried to be a little bit clever with the what I was like sort of getting rid of with this. A lot of the things I didn't want to get rid of. A lot of things like this, like the metal drums and the crates and stuff, I thought I'll get rid of them, but I pretend that they've kind of salvaged them and used them in other areas. Same with all these crates and stuff. I used the beds from werewolves and also, what's the other bed? That looks a bit shabby. I can't remember, but they're bunk beds and they look like they've kind of been like made out of wooden pallets and stuff. So in my head, that's what they were doing. They were making it out of that kind of thing. And that's what we tended to do here. Yeah, I loved my brain with this because I was like, oh, I want to think about that and think about this. Like this, for example, this is kind of the front entrance area. And I decided to block it off by using the tires that were already stored up. And this will just stop any zombies coming through to this area here. There's only one entrance and exit So one single point of entry to this whole place, and that is towards the front with the barbed wire. It's got barbed wire on the inside as well, or at least like a big metal fence. I made sure to put that in just so it was very well protected from the outside world. I have never played or like tested out the apocalyptic there's like a zombie apocalypse sort of mod, and I would love to give that a go. I really would. If you want me to give that a go on the channel, let me know, because I'll definitely use this build to be able to do that. If that is an interest to you, because I think it could be quite funny, we could get some funny characters involved, then let me know down below, and I will happily do that maybe in the next few weeks, because I just think it would be hilarious to see what that mod is like. I really would, and I think this would be the perfect place for some Sims to lay low in, you know. Very nice indeed. What am I building now, you may ask? These are the Watchtowers. I do about 5 of these. I do 5 of them. There's 2 on the front entrance area, and I wanted them, as I said, to look salvage. So you see me using like the older woods and just industrial looking pieces that look like they've kind of like been salvaged from this place and built. I just thought that was a nice little vibe. I was going to do it in wood in the beginning. I was like, no, do you know what? Let's get some nice metal ones going up. And this is the front entrance area. I decided to put 2 here just so they've got a really good vantage point from their only point of entry for any scary zombies that are coming, or not just zombies, scary humans. I could imagine if anything like this went down in the world, you know how humans would act. It would be awful. It would be like The Walking Dead, really. And yeah, we need protection. We need protection from all the scaries. We really do. But that's what I loved about doing this, renovating this build, is the fact that I didn't have to do loads to the actual aesthetic of the build at all. I just kept it as it was and got my thinking cap on and thought, right, they haven't got many materials, blah, 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 blah. And I think it looked good. You'll have to let me know down below what you thought of it as well, because yeah, I'm very excited for you to see how this all came out and the ideas that kind of came through with this, because it was just interesting to do it this way. It really was. So I'm building more watchtowers here. We do 2 more of them on this side. I think I do another. Yeah, I do another one. So there are 4 watchtowers, and they're all kind of like on each edge, really. And yeah, really worked out rather nicely indeed. I was very pleased with how it came out. Once I finished it, I really was. I loved it. I got so inspired from this, I really did. What else? What are we doing? I'm colouring the roof lines for some reason. There we go. And then I thought for the actual fence going around, there is a double barbed wire fence, but I thought you'd still need a little bit more of protection. So I reckon they used a lot of that wood that they salvaged. And there's lots of trees around. I actually built this in Copperdale, or renovated this in Copperdale even. And what I did was pretend that they go out on kind of like salvage runs. So they go out, chop a few trees down, whip them back using the cars that they've got. I kept the cars, and I reckon they're making their own fuel out of the bugs and stuff that they use, their biofuel, so they can actually use the cars and whatnot. But I just thought an extra bit of protection around this whole lot kind of made a bit more sense, you know. It is double lined, but you know, you never bloody know, darlings. Somebody could get in. So having this up, it's that extra point of safety, isn't it, really? And yeah, I'm very happy. Very happy. Love this fence as well. Where is that from? It's from Horse Ranch. I just thought it was a good little object. It really was. So we start up here first. I'm going to reuse all of these items that I found up in this area here. And that actually goes in the new kind of like meeting room area, really. They're salvaging, you know, they're using all of their bits and bobs that they've got. So that's what I decided to do. And then up in this area here is where I put in an area for them to grow their own crops and things, and do it all year round as well, not just kind of winter crops and stuff. They can grow their own food all year round. And I reckon they would go out hunting as well, you know, for the meat eaters themselves. If you're in this situation, this would be the time, you know, to go hunting. And yes, I just thought that was a nice little idea. And I decided on doing 3 rows of them, 1 on each side like this. And then that just maximizes the amount of space that we've got to grow crops in this area. And it still allows the light to kind of hit at all angles as well. I had a little thought about, making a glass roof to kind of feel a bit more like a greenhouse. And I was just like, that's not very realistic. There wouldn't be large sort of panes of glass anywhere. And you wouldn't want to take the roof off really, because it's protecting the crops. So kind of left it as it was. And it worked out nicely. And then up here, I'm using the kind of shabby looking planters as well. Again, making it look like it's kind of like been salvaged. And I litter this whole place in crops and grow. If you want to put this down in your game, make sure it's in the summer, because I put all summer crops down on this point here. In the winter and stuff, obviously, you'd have to change it. But this is how I decided to go about using it in this point here. And it works. It works nicely. If you can hear dogs whining in the background, it's because I've left them downstairs because they're very hectic at the minute. I've got my nephew's little dog, Cosmo, aka Dobby. He looks like Dobby from Harry Potter. I've got him downstairs and they're probably crying because I've left them downstairs, but they're going to have to stay there for the minute. I'm working. I've got recording to do. You just saw me putting some rain collecting things as well. I think to collecting drinking water, or even just like water for the plants. I thought that would have been a good vibe. And solar panels as well. They salvaged lots of metal bits and they made their own solar panels. So they've got power running all through here all year round. And I just think that works really nicely. Really nicely down here, it really does. And that was the perfect roof line for it as well, because it's on each side and it allowed me to use loads of them. So they've got a kind of over-saturation of power on this lot. Some bees for some honey. I thought that was a good little vibe. And then in all of the watchtowers, I put a telescope just to make it look like it could be a gun on a tripod or something. I don't know. And they could spy out and sort of see what it's about, you know. And it worked. It worked quite nicely. And I also got to me thinking about lighting and stuff in here as well. Kept most of the lighting the same, but I still added in some different sort of wall lights, like some security lights here and there, just to make that aspect of it come a little bit forward. So this is one of the areas of the bedrooms. I reckon this could be like the areas where the gardener and maybe the camp leader live. Gardeners and the camp leaders live. So I do an area here where there's bunk beds, and I also, as I said, use that warehouse area for lots of bunk beds as well. And yeah, it works out nicely. I actually end up putting a shower in this room as well. Like they didn't move any of the plumbing, and they maybe moved that door. It's not very realistic, but I wanted the Sims to be able to get through there. But yeah, just adding in a shower and connecting to the existing plumbing. So at least this area here has got an area for them to shower and whatnot. I reckon this room is the only room with a double bed. So maybe a couple, or even the camp leader's room. That was kind of in my head as well. I actually pulled off some Sims off the gallery as well. Some like apocalyptic survivors from the gallery. And I've been playing around with this lot, player testing everything, making sure it all works. And it did. It worked really nicely. Worked very nicely indeed, and you'll see that a little bit at the end as well, because I'm going to do a nice big video tour of the whole place. I am adding up some metal sheeting here. I ended up I'm knocking down this wall, and I was like, oh, that wood looks a little bit weird. Do I want to like change that? I end up just putting the metal sheeting all throughout here instead. Semi-realistic maybe they want the metal flooring down here and using scraps. That was my vibe from it. But this whole canteen stayed the same. And then what I did, as I said before, was pull in those picnic tables and just use this area here as an area where they could train for the gym. And I go for the objects that came with werewolves as well. So it looks a little bit shabby. Everything looks a little bit put together. And it works out really well because they all come up here and they use everything as well. Power was very important to me. It's getting their own power. So I put up a couple of the windmills as well, just in case. You never know, there might not be sun that day and they need wind, so that's the thing. We've got some recyclers out, some fizzing stations, just objects for them. This is the makers area really, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to put in the children's kind of like classroom area too. But we do that quite a bit further on. I wasn't sure where I was going to be putting it yet, so I left a lot of the back area of this factory free because I didn't know if it was going to be there just yet. So I left it and moved on to something else. So you'll see that come ahead. Some woodworking tables, very simple. You're seeing what I'm doing. This area here is the communal room where everyone comes together, watches. I reckon they're going to have some films that they've probably got about 10 DVDs that they're going to have to watch for the rest of their lives, bless them, unless they get it out on one of the supply runs, you know. But that to me is powered by solar. And they've got a projector that with a DVD player or something, you know. They're going to need some entertainment. And I ended up just using all of the stuff that was already here in this room. I get rid of a few objects, like some armchairs and stuff, because it just wasn't really needed. And end up, yeah, reusing everything. It's just that thing. It's kind of like thinking I don't need to build anything new, but I need to make a new room. I actually connect these rooms in as well, so the floor plan does change slightly, especially with this little kitchen area here, because I decided to put doors in from each of the kind of like communal bedroom areas, going into the meeting room as well. Just you know, so they can get into here really easily, because if not, they're going to be coming in from the outside. Excuse me, I nearly burped. But outside as well, I actually changed those. As much as I loved the terrain, the sloping up to there, I decided to put some decking up the front instead, just so it connected all of the 3 rooms in together a little bit easier. And I thought that worked out quite nicely, really did. Yeah, went for 2 bookcases in the beginning here, but I get rid of 1. And as I said, we put in doors there. So this is it. This is that gorgeous area that I'm getting rid of, sadly. And I actually flattened down this, but don't get me wrong, that was absolutely beautiful. It was lush. But in my head, I was like, they're going to need to be able to get to these rooms easier, not just the doors on the inside, but access out from them too. So I built up like this shabby looking sort of decking area out the back here, and it worked. It worked quite nicely. I ended up not using this fence. I don't know what I was doing here. I was trying to get rid of the fence and not bloody doing it properly. End up going for the metal railings up here instead. It just looked a little bit better, a little bit more pleasing to my eyes, the aesthetics of it all. And yeah, I was pleased with it in the end. I really was. This one here, it just looked a little bit better to me. Notice that I didn't do it at the edge. I did find that, don't worry. And these are the doors that I connect in, just to help out, you know. And then I thought, over to this area, this is where they sleep. They're going to need another watchtower. So this was my thought process of like, right, we're going to build in another watchtower onto this point here. So at least they've got protection from this side as well. The back of the build is not too, like, you don't really need to worry about that. It's a solid wall. Nobody's getting in through that area, not even a flesh-eating zombie. But yeah, that was my thought process with it. And I thought it worked. You'll have to let me know. But yeah, I had so much bloody fun. I really did. I had so much bloody fun doing this. It was one of my favourite renovations that I've done with Design Me Devon, I think, because it just got me thinking differently compared to all the others. Here, I was trying to put in the spandrel underneath, but it ended up like not working out in the way that I wanted it to. I can't remember why I didn't want to do it anymore. It's because it was making a foundation underneath, and the foundation wasn't allowing me to get rid of the, and I was just like, you know what, we're not doing that. So it ends up just being the same. So this is the front entrance area here. So remember I said I just wanted to knock that wall down and have a bit more of an area where you can see people coming in to this lot, you know, maybe they're doing trading with other camps nearby or something. This would be the area that they would do it. They wouldn't allow them into the camp. There is actually a little small room there with like it almost looks like a kiosk area where people would get checked in when this was a factory. I kept that, and that could be an area where they can come and sort of like see visitors and trade and do all of that kind of good stuff. So that was my thought process. And then I decided to convert the changing rooms into actual shower rooms itself. So I used very plain bricks, stuff that looks like it could again be salvaged from anywhere, and I just put in showers for everybody. I think we do 10 showers in total, and I think there's about 8 toilets throughout the whole lot, I think, maybe. So yeah, beautiful bit of work there. And I use these little arch doorways as well, you know. And we do exactly the same as what we did there on the other side. So end up doing 4 sorry, I completely forgot that we did that. I end up moving the shower just so we can have a sink here as well, just in case someone wanted to come in and have just like a strip wash, you know, rather than a full shower. Decided to put in some sinks instead of the an extra shower, and again making the sink look like it's been hand built as well. So thought processes, it was very good and I loved it. So this is one of the bedrooms, so using bunk beds in all of these rooms here as well. What ones are they from? So it's werewolves, but I don't know what the other kind of handmade-y looking one is from. Is it Horse Ranch? I think it might be Horse Ranch, maybe. But I'd use a mixture of them, and I made sure they all had different swatches as well, just so it didn't look too copy and pasted. And then for each of the rooms, I put up some curtains as well, just in case they want some privacy, if people are getting up earlier than others and whatnot. Because there's going to be dressing areas and stuff here, I thought having some curtains up on the wall would work out really nicely. And I ended up using this pole. It's not the matching pole, and it looks a bit weird because it's got the bracket on it when it's floating, but I thought it was fine. It will do. It looks like they can be dragged all the way across now, and that was what I was more worried about. So again, using all of the handmade looking stuff, or even salvage stuff like the crates, the apple crates and stuff. We use them a lot for the what they called side tables. Why did I forget that? No idea. And I wanted to kind of reintroduce a little bit of industrial in here, so I end up putting a few extra pipes and stuff on the walls. Not realistic in the like real sense, because why would you put pipes there? But I wanted it to make it look like, you know, they've always been there, so I decided to add them in instead. And yeah, very nice. And then this is the second bedroom as well, just a little bit different. This room, I ended up putting the extra sofa that I had in here, just for another little area to see. And yeah, some wardrobes that look like they've been salvaged. And I used the broken mirrors and werewolves everywhere as well. But yeah, let me check out how much longer we got left here. We got 5 minutes left. I was wondering what else we had to do here. I do an area as well of washing lines. I forgot that. And the hand washing tubs as well. So I made sure to get in some laundry baskets in places, just so that is a kind of a gameplay aspect when you do go and download this. One of the rooms, this one here, I decided to make it into a storage area. You know, if they're going out and salvaging and stuff, it would make sense to have a room where things could look like they've got a lot of, you know, shelf life, like cans of food, tins of food even, and weapons as well. Like I wanted this area to be a kind of storage room. So it's kind of simple, but I just thought it was kind of semi-realistic as well. Out into the courtyard area, I wanted some chickens. So I decided on putting the chickens up near the log store. And then I wrap in the fence around this whole area, including the little water tanks that we've got going on. One of the water tanks actually ended up disappearing in build mode, and I completely derped out. And I was like, what is missing from there? And I couldn't notice it for ages. So yeah, it will be back. Don't you worry. It will be back in the video tour at the end. And I thought it's very important here as well to have some kind of like festoon lighting around this area, just so they've got, yeah, good lighting here, and it's a nice ambience when they're out in this area, you know. It was important for me to make this area look not attractive because it's an apocalyptic sort of hellhole, isn't it really? But an area where it would look like they would come out and hang out together and stuff. I ended up moving that light at the end there as well because it was just hitting a bit too much near the door. But I do that off of camera. And then here I was kind of struggling at where to put this basketball hoop because of the foundation. It was just going up a little bit too high. It was perfect there. I don't know why I moved it, but I ended up moving it for some reason. And yes, and I thought the generator kind of makes it look like they power the festoon lights and stuff. As I said, clotheslines for their clothes. They come out and wash all their own clothes and stuff out here. And yeah, I think it worked. I cannot believe that I didn't notice that water tower going. I ended up putting some the bug farms there, but I moved them, don't you worry. And then using these tire seats as well for some seating around the fire pit. Very nice indeed. It does work out quite nicely in the end, it does. And this is where I decided to come back and put in the kind of children's classroom. So I didn't do too many seats here. I did 4 because I thought there's not going to be many children in this camp. I wouldn't imagine. Maybe a lot of them didn't survive, or yeah, that was my thought process. Morbid, yes, but realistic, yes. But yeah, I decided to separate off from the kind of makers area so they can concentrate, get out a few creativity tables, and also the little lab, the little science lab thing. And then just cheering up the place as well with some homemade like sort of decals up on the walls and stuff, you know, just to make it look pleasant and happy for the children. You know, that was my thought process. And I think that kind of worked. I think it was a good area there. So this is where we start to come in now. And this was where I was like, right, we're going to need to add, they wanted a hospital wing. And that kind of makes sense. If you're going to have a big group of people, a lot of them are going to be getting poorly, aren't they? Ignore the door that I put in the beginning. I was like, glass door, that looks a bit too posh. We're going to go for one of the doors from Get to Work, and it ends up looking a little bit better. And we do a bit more of a ward here. I end up extending out the size of this a little bit more and going for 3 beds in this area. And that seems to suffice and work a little bit better. It really does. So you'll see that. You'll see that coming on as I progress here. But yeah, simple beds, just a nice little, it's not really nice. It's a bit clinical, but an area for your 6 Sims to come sit around and, you know, there we are. There we are indeed. But yeah, a lot of the objects from Get to Work are incredible for building stuff like this. They really are. Like, I love that pack, I really do. I don't like the gameplay from the pack, I find it a bit boring, but I do love the build and buy from Get to Work, and that has been out for ages. Wasn't that our first expansion pack? Yeah, I think it was. I think it was our first expansion, wasn't it? And I still like the build and buy items from that, you know. It come in handy for so many builds, including builds like this, a bit off the cuff builds, darlings. But yeah, that's how I decided to do this little area. Put in a desk and stuff, and areas where it could look like they could put files and stuff down. Place to wash your hands before surgery. You know, all of that kind of shindig. And I actually put in a full bathroom in here as well, with a shower, no bath. I don't do baths in any of this lot, really. Didn't really make sense to me. So yeah, that's what I decided to do. Lovely job. These are all for files and stuff, you know. Maybe research for things. An X-ray. I don't know where they're going to have an X-ray machine in here, but you know, just going to slap it in there anyway. It's detail, isn't it? To be honest, at the end of the day. And yeah, very nicely indeed. I went for a laptop in the beginning. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why would they have a laptop? Not in this day and age, you know. So I ended up getting rid of that. But yeah, very simple, very clinical. But it was an area that was needed, and it was requested as well. So I made sure to get it in here. And if it works rather nicely. How much longer have we got left? 8 seconds. Well, enough to say goodbye. And here's the video tour. Oh my god. Bye.